Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, you knew the attacks on Ron Paul were going to kick into high gear now that in Iowa and other states, he's in first or second in all the major polls. But now the Iowa governor, the Republican establishment rhino, big government individual, is coming out and saying, ignore a Ron Paul win, and he himself is trying to derail the Iowa caucuses and claiming that it's Ron Paul's fault and saying it's going to be discredited forever now to try to make Iowans hate Ron Paul, which I guess means hate themselves because they're supporting him. I mean, you talk about mind control. You talk about selling trendiness and what's in style, being a slave, being in debt, being lied to, supporting banker bailouts, supporting all these illegal wars, supporting the overthrow of the Bill of Rights and Constitution. And they always say, the troops want more war. And, of course, in every major poll, over 70% are against it, and Ron Paul gets over 70% of the donations from Democrats and Republicans compared to the other candidates. It's the same thing. You know, the troops love war and want more. The troops don't like you, but the facts don't show that. Oh, my gosh, Ron Paul is discrediting the Iowa caucuses. I have the quotes right here. Oh, my goodness, this is going to destroy Iowa's importance, and you know whose fault it is. It's that Ron Paul. What they're saying to you in a mind control game is, here, hold this hand grenade. And you're like Wile E. Coyote, I guess, when Roadrunner gives him the hand grenade. He's like, oh, thank you, and then sits there and it blows up. Are we that stupid? The globalists are almost out of bullets. They're almost out of bullets, but, and they tried to destroy Rand Paul and it backfired. But in this case, they could have some success on this unless we really expose what they're doing, because there's nothing mainline Republicans are more into than going to their fake church and thinking it's the end of the world and never fighting corruption or tyranny. And basically just going with whoever Fox News tells them. And they're like, Newt Gingrich is for global government, open borders, and carbon taxes, and Obamacare. He's the sensible one. And you're like, but that doesn't make any sense. They're like, but Fox News says it. And if a Republican governor says it, you're going to destroy our state's reputation. If you vote for Ron Paul, he's a bad, nasty man for being right all these years about everything and staying the course and always voting the way he said he would. And it's just terrible he's going to win. We told you he didn't exist and he was a piece of garbage and everything else, but now just ignore the win. And they go on to say, Paul poses an existential threat to the state's cherished kickoff status. It's his fault. He's going to destroy it. And the little specialness of Iowa Republicans. And, oh, well, don't ruin my little power trip of being a Republican Iowa voter in the caucus. Well, I'll have to vote against him. Say these Republicans because he has little chance to win the GOP nomination. That same mantra, he'll never win Iowa. He'll never win New Hampshire. Surging in all the polls. Same thing they tried with Rand. I mean, the Democrats had people dress up as racist and run around once he got the nomination. The Republicans tried some of the same stuff. Banker bailout, you know, big banks just poured money into his competition, but they failed because we've passed that flux point, that Rubicon, at which they're so discredited that if they say something about you horrible, people have enough basic instinct and common sense to go, you mean the lying, corrupt system that's been caught lying thousands of times and got us into this mess? They're saying he's bad, and oh my gosh, I better not go there. But, I mean, here's the spectacle. It's up at Infowars.com, Prisonplanet.com. It's up at Drudge, has the headline, Iowa governor, ignore Ron Paul win. Here's Politico. Will Ron Paul kill the caucuses? That's right, he's ruining everything. standing for election in the democratic process in our republic. I mean, is there anything nastier? I mean, he's running for office and he's winning. That's the worst thing I ever heard of. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. It is Tuesday, the 20th day of December, 2011, and here are the headlines from Politico and others. Will Ron Paul kill the caucuses? How dare him run for office in America? He's going to ruin everything. So that's the new attack strategy. Claim that he is just a horrible person, trying to influence people and telling them, don't throw your vote away, don't throw your vote away, don't discredit Iowa. I mean, new levels of them trying to invoke trendiness in people and the self-fulfilling prophecy of resistance is futile, you can't have Ron Paul. But it shows, just like with Rand Paul, that this is boomeranging back on them. So that's coming up. Here's Politico. Will Ron Paul kill the caucuses? Iowa governor comes out and it says, ignore Ron Paul win. Ignore our state, and says our state is discredited, and then blames it on Ron Paul. That'd be like going to a party, climbing up on top of the table, defecating in the punch bowl, and then pointing your finger at someone else, as everybody knows you just did it, and saying, he did it. He pooped in the punch bowl. And that's what the Iowa governor's done. He's climbed up to the Iowa caucus's punch bowl, which is the most important kickoff of the election. It's the start of everything. And Ron Paul's in pole position, getting ready a week and a half away from this. And if he wins it, he's going to be half a revolution around the track ahead of the competition. The vast majority of the time, if you win the Iowa caucus, you end up getting the nomination of the party. And he is up there saying this discredits our state, this discredits everything, and it's Ron Paul's fault. When it's just a totally made up, as they've always said he can't win, and they've always said he isn't going anywhere when he's in first, second, or third place in every poll in the last 6 months. We've shown you studies, scientific studies, Pew Research, breakdowns of that from Texas universities. We've had the anthropologists / sociologists, statisticians in. We've gone over it. Ron Paul gets the shortest amount of time in the debates. Everything stacked against him, but the people know the game is rigged, so they want Ron Paul. And the system plays this game of saying, no, you can't have that fish. It's like you take your kids to get fish at the pet store, and they want some really expensive exotic fish or some saltwater fish. And you're like, no, that's a saltwater fish. We have a freshwater, but I want that fish. But the issue, and they're saying, no, Ron Paul is a saltwater fish. No, he's not, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? He's the perfect fish for the Republic, and they won't let us have him in the fish tank. Man, I'm coming up with some weird analogies off the top of my head here. The others are a bunch of dead fish, a bunch of dead New World Order sharks with one-way eyes, soulless minions who've proven themselves servants of the New World Order. I mean, look at Mitt Romney, wrote Obamacare, supports carbon taxes, supports amnesty and open borders. And then even worse, if it's possible, Newt Gingrich, open illuminist, world government, end of the family, end of America, New World Order speeches, carbon taxes, Hillary Care supporting, oh yes, his own little version of it, on and on and on. He's loyal opposition to the New World Order. That's what he is. And I can't even go over all the things Gingrich supports. It's mind-blowing. And what do we have happening here? What do we have going on? We have Politico, AP, Reuters, the talk show host, all attacking him, saying Ron Paul is ruining Iowa and ruining the state's importance. And now they're telling the voters that, you know what, Ron Paul is ruining our state as the kickoff. He's discrediting us as the fact that whoever wins Iowa normally wins the nomination, except in, 2 cases in the last 100 years or more. And I tell you, it's just terrible what he did. And Ron Paul's sitting there, a man of honor, a man of integrity, saying the same thing 30 years ago that he said today. By the way, we're putting a video together showing that in speeches he gave, TV appearances, interviews he did right here in Austin, Texas, on Access TV in 1988 about drug prohibition, government drug dealing, New World Order, government engineering AIDS virus. We've got it all dug up. And Alex Jones, that's what he is a medical doctor, veteran, only guy on the congressional baseball team to ever knock a home run. The list goes on and on. Just a great all-around family man. And he is the prototype of Alex Jones. And I got to say, the prototype's better than the modern thing, isn't he? So the point is, but we all do the best we can, is that they are scared to death of him. They are scared to death of him. And they do not know what to do. And so they're playing this mind game, this insulting game. It's like when I saw those news articles in the last few days, Bloomberg, Weekly Standard, all attacking the fact that Alex Jones is a supporter of Ron Paul, and Ron Paul will not disavow him and goes on his radio show. And for good reason. Ron Paul warns of military to be on the streets, and so does Jones. They are unstable and insane. Just vicious attacks. That's just a few of them. And then meanwhile, in the very same publications, there's articles about, well, they have gotten rid of posse comitatus and we'll be putting troops on the streets and citizens can be secretly arrested and disappear, but it's all for our security. Meanwhile, these men are insane. Ron Paul is insane. He says that the government brings in narcotics. And then Bloomberg linked to Ron Paul giving a speech about it, and an article we wrote. It's almost like they're patriots or something and are like publishing this stuff thinking their masters won't realize, because I know this has happened in some cases, I've been told behind the scenes, that actually when they then link to us, people go and see the truth. Because every comment on the Bloomberg article, every comment of hundreds, and I read through most of them. I couldn't believe it at like 5 a.m. this morning when I woke up. Hundreds and hundreds of comments were all seeing right through them. Because the Bloomberg article attacking myself and Ron Paul linked to a data page with all the congressional C-SPAN hearings admitting government drug dealing and the aircraft crashing, Reuters full of cocaine, the CIA being caught over and over again, and all the reports and everything Ron Paul's talking about. I mean, Ron Paul is talking about admitted things that came out in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and right through to today. And it's so ham-fisted when the system attacks us that you're like, do they really think people are buying this? Ron Paul believes the military is being trained to deploy in America. This is the type of unstable craziness that we deal with, and that's why it's good that they're going to try to bar him from some of the future Republican debates, because this man is absolutely dangerous. And then they link to Infowars.com with just links everywhere to mainstream news admitting it. So now they're trying this new game, which is a twist on the old game of saying, Ron Paul, we were very prideful in Iowa. For 100+ years, the nation has looked to Iowa first as a bellwether, as who was going to have the starting position and who was favored to win. And in 80+% of the time, that person has gotten the presidential nomination against the incumbent presidential candidate. But not anymore. Iowa's discredited. But wait, it's worse. It's worse. In fact, I have the articles right here. It's worse. It will discredit all of the primaries because he might win those too. I mean, it'd be like if a boxer got in the ring and said he can never win.